Have you ever looked across the breakfast table at your partner of 40, 50, maybe even 60 years and wondered, what happened to us? I'm not talking about the wrinkles or the gray hair. Those are badges of honor. I'm talking about that spark, the connection that once made your heart skip a beat. If you're nodding right now, you're not alone. I'm Dr. Sarah, and today we're having an honest conversation about love after 70 specifically, how to recognize when it might be fading and what you can do about it. Now, before we dive in, I want to make something crystal clear. Feeling disconnected from your partner at this stage of life doesn't mean your relationship is doomed. In fact, recognizing these silent signs is the first step toward rekindling what might be one of the most fulfilling chapters of your relationship yet. After all, you've weathered so many storms together. Why not make your golden years truly golden? The first silent sign your love might be fading is what I call parallel living. This happens when you and your partner are sharing a home, but not a life. You wake up, you go about your day, you might even eat dinner together, but there's no real connection happening. You're like two trains running on parallel tracks, moving in the same direction, but never meeting. Maybe you've fallen into comfortable routines where he watches his shows in the living room while you read in the bedroom. Or perhaps you've developed entirely separate friend groups and hobbies with little overlap. This parallel living often sneaks up on couples. After retirement, when you suddenly have all this time together, you might realize you've forgotten how to actually be together. One couple I worked with, Martha and Frank, had been married for 52 years when they came to see me. Frank had been a dedicated surgeon, working long hours throughout their marriage, while Martha managed their home and social calendar. When Frank retired, they suddenly found themselves staring at each other across the breakfast table with nothing to say. "We don't know how to be together anymore," Martha admitted. "We love each other, but we've forgotten how to connect." The solution isn't necessarily doing everything together. That's not healthy either. Instead, it's about creating meaningful points of connection throughout your day. For Martha and Frank, they started small: a morning walk where they discussed their plans for the day, and an evening ritual of sharing one good thing that happened. These small touch points became bridges between their parallel lives. The second silent sign is the disappearance of physical affection. Now, I'm not just talking about intimacy in the bedroom, though that's certainly important too. I'm talking about those small physical connections that remind us we're loved. A hand on the shoulder as you pass by, sitting close enough on the couch that your legs touch, a kiss goodbye that lasts just a second longer than necessary. When these small gestures disappear, it's easy to start feeling more like roommates than romantic partners. Physical changes and health challenges can certainly complicate this aspect of your relationship. Arthritis might make holding hands uncomfortable. Medications might affect desire. But physical connection remains important at every age. It releases oxytocin, reduces stress, and reinforces your bond. The key is adapting to your changing bodies and finding new ways to maintain that physical connection. Eleanor and Joseph, both in their late 70s, faced this challenge when Joseph's Parkinson's made many forms of touch difficult. "We had to get creative," Eleanor told me with a twinkle in her eye. They established a nightly ritual of hand massages, taking turns gently rubbing lotion into each other's hands. This simple practice became a powerful way to maintain physical connection, despite physical limitations. The third sign your love might be fading is communication that's become purely functional. If your conversations have devolved into nothing more than coordinating schedules, discussing medications, or talking about the grandkids, you might be missing opportunities for deeper connection. After decades together, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you know everything about your partner, but people continue to grow and change throughout life. One simple practice to revitalize your communication is to ask each other one thoughtful question each day. Not, What do you want for dinner? But questions that invite reflection and sharing. What made you smile today? Or, what are you looking forward to this month? Or even, what's something you've been thinking about lately that we haven't discussed? If you've been nodding along to any of these signs, don't worry, recognition is the first step toward positive change. In the next part, we'll explore more silent signs and practical ways to reignite that spark. If you're still with me, type 1 in the comments below. I'd love to know you're here. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking about those silent signs that your love might be fading after 70, and more importantly, what you can do to rekindle that connection. Let's continue with our fourth sign, the disappearance of curiosity about each other. Remember when you first fell in love? You wanted to know everything about your partner, their childhood stories, their dreams, their fears, even their favorite color. That curiosity is a powerful form of attention that makes people feel valued and seen. But after decades together, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you know everything there is to know about your partner. You finish their sentences, you predict their reactions, and somewhere along the way, you might stop asking questions. But here's the beautiful truth about human beings: we never stop evolving. Your partner at 75 is not the same person they were at 50 or 30. They've developed new perspectives, new interests, perhaps even new dreams for the future. Curiosity keeps love alive because it acknowledges this ongoing growth. Diane and Robert had been married for 46 years when they came to one of my workshops. Diane complained that Robert never listened to her anymore. "He thinks he knows exactly what I'm going to say before I say it," she told the group. When I asked Robert about this, he nodded. "After nearly half a century, there aren't many surprises left," he said with a shrug. I challenged them to a simple exercise. Each day for a week, they would ask each other one question they'd never asked before. The results were remarkable. Robert discovered that Diane had developed a secret interest in astronomy after watching a documentary series. Diane learned that Robert had been contemplating volunteering at the local hospital. "I feel like I'm getting to know him all over again," Diane told me later, her eyes bright with excitement. The fifth sign your love might be fading is taking each other for granted. This is perhaps the most common issue I see in long-term relationships of any age, but it can become particularly pronounced in later years. After decades together, it's easy to stop noticing the things your partner does for you: the cup of coffee they prepare just the way you like it, the way they remember to pick up your prescription, how they still try to make you laugh when you're feeling down. Gratitude is the antidote to this particular relationship poison. Research has consistently shown that expressing appreciation strengthens relationships and increases happiness for both partners. It doesn't require grand gestures. Simply noticing and acknowledging the small things can make a profound difference. Harold and Esther had been married for 68 years when I met them. Despite Harold's advancing dementia, their connection remained palpable. Esther's secret: every night before bed, I tell him 3 things I appreciated about him that day, she explained. Some days, when his confusion is bad, I'm grateful for the smallest things: the way he still reaches for my hand, or how his face lights up when I enter the room. But I never miss a night. Harold might not always remember the specifics, but the emotional imprint of feeling appreciated remained. You can start this practice today. Tonight, before you go to sleep, share one thing you appreciated about your partner today. It might feel awkward at first, especially if expressions of gratitude haven't been part of your relationship culture, but stick with it. The results can be transformative. The sixth sign is the loss of shared dreams. In earlier stages of life, couples often bond over shared goals: raising children, building careers, buying a home. But what happens when those major life milestones are behind you? Without new shared dreams, relationships can stagnate. Contrary to popular belief, our need for purpose and forward momentum doesn't diminish with age. We still need things to look forward to, goals to work toward, and dreams to share with our partners. These shared visions for the future create bonds in the present. When James and Patricia retired in their early 70s, they found themselves drifting apart. "We'd accomplished everything we'd set out to do together," Patricia explained. "Suddenly, we didn't have a joint project anymore." Their solution was to create a bucket list not of exotic destinations they couldn't afford, but of experiences they wanted to share. Learning to make pasta from scratch, visiting all the state parks within driving distance, volunteering together at the local literacy program, and taking dance lessons. "It's not about checking items off a list," James told me. "It's about having something to plan together, to look forward to together. It gives us something to talk about beyond doctor's appointments and grandkids." What dreams could you and your partner pursue together at this stage of life? Maybe it's traveling to places you've always wanted to see, taking a class together, starting a small garden, or even just establishing a new tradition of trying a new restaurant once a month. The specific dream matters less than the fact that you're creating it together. I want to emphasize something important here. Rekindling your connection isn't about recapturing the exact relationship you had in your younger years. It's about creating something new that honors your history together while embracing who you are now. The love between two people in their 70s, 80 seconds, or 90 seconds can be profoundly different from young love, deeper, richer, more patient, and often more tender. In the next part, we'll explore our final signs and the most powerful practices for rekindling your connection. If you're finding this helpful so far, type 2 in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Welcome to our final segment on recognizing and addressing the silent signs that your love might be fading after 70. If you've been with me from the beginning, thank you for your commitment to nurturing your relationship. If you're just joining us, you're right on time for some of our most powerful insights. Our seventh sign that love might be fading is what I call emotional retirement. This happens when one or both partners stop investing emotional energy in the relationship. You might still go through the motions of partnership, sharing meals, managing household tasks, attending family functions together, but you've stopped sharing your inner world with each other. This emotional withdrawal often happens gradually. Perhaps you stopped sharing a disappointment because you didn't want to burden your partner. Maybe you kept a small joy to yourself because it didn't seem important enough to mention. Over time, these small withholdings create distance. Vulnerability is the cure for emotional retirement. It requires courage to share your thoughts, feelings, fears, and hopes, especially if you've fallen out of the habit. But this emotional openness is the soil in which intimacy grows. Evelyn and Thomas had been married for 54 years when Thomas had a health scare, a minor heart attack that, fortunately, left no permanent damage. During his recovery, something shifted in their relationship. "I realized how close I'd come to losing him," Evelyn told me, "and I also realized how much I'd stopped telling him. All the little thoughts and feelings I used to share. Somewhere along the way, I'd started keeping them to myself." She made a commitment to change this pattern, starting with a simple practice. Each evening, she would share one thing she'd thought or felt during the day that she would normally have kept to herself. Thomas soon began reciprocating. "It's like we're getting to know each other all over again," he said. "Not the big things, we know those, but all the small thoughts and feelings that make up a day, that make up a life. You can begin this practice today. Start small. Share a thought you had while watching the news, a memory that surfaced while you were making dinner, a moment of worry about a friend, or a simple pleasure you experienced during your day. These seemingly insignificant shares are the threads that weave the fabric of intimacy. Our eighth and final sign is the absence of play and humor in your relationship. Laughter and playfulness are not just frivolous extras in a relationship, they're essential ingredients for connection and resilience. Couples who maintain their sense of humor and ability to play together report higher relationship satisfaction at every stage of life. As we age, life can become increasingly serious. Health concerns, financial worries, and losses can weigh heavily. Without intentional effort, playfulness can disappear from your relationship. But play and humor are perhaps even more important during challenging times. They provide essential emotional relief and remind us of the joy at the core of our connection. Margaret and Donald, both in their early 80s, made me laugh out loud when they shared their solution to this challenge. "We have silly Saturdays," Margaret explained. "One Saturday a month, we act like kids. We eat ice cream for breakfast, we watch cartoons, we play board games, and we have a strict no complaining rule." Donald added with a twinkle, "Last month, we had a water gun fight in the backyard. The neighbors probably think we've lost our minds, but we've never had so much fun. Your version of play might look different. Maybe it's sharing jokes, watching comedies together, playing cards, or simply being willing to laugh at yourselves when things go wrong. The specific activity matters less than the spirit of lightness and joy you bring to it." Now, having recognized these signs, what's the most important thing you can do to rekindle your connection? My answer might surprise you. It's not a specific activity or practice, though those are important. The most powerful action you can take is making a conscious decision to prioritize your relationship again. After decades together, it's easy for relationships to shift into autopilot. We assume they'll continue running smoothly with minimal attention. But relationships at every stage require intention and care. Making a conscious commitment to nurturing your connection, to seeing, hearing, and choosing your partner again and again is the foundation for all other efforts. This doesn't mean your relationship needs to become a full-time job. Small, consistent investments of attention and care yield remarkable results. A few minutes of genuine connection each day can transform your relationship over time. I want to leave you with a thought that I share with all the couples I work with. It's never too late to create a new chapter in your love story. The relationship you have at 75 or 85 or 95 can be different from, and in many ways richer, than the one you had in earlier decades. This stage of life offers unique opportunities for connection. You likely have more time together than at any previous point in your relationship. You've developed wisdom and perspective that can deepen your appreciation for each other. And you've shared a history that creates a foundation unlike any other. Your relationship deserves this investment. You deserve this investment. Because love at this stage of life isn't just about companionship, though that's valuable. It's about continuing to grow, to experience joy, and to face life's final chapters with your best ally by your side. If you've made it to the end of this video, I'd love to hear from you. Comment 3 below and share one small step you'll take this week to strengthen your connection. And if you found value in our conversation today, please consider subscribing to our channel for more content on thriving in your golden years. Until next time, remember that love isn't just for the young, it's for the young at heart.